Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dice Commando and the Commando Cast. I'm Andrew with you here as always, but joined today by Dean McCarthy, aka SwagDean, a DC team member and all-around good guy. Tonight we are here to talk changes, the final changes actually, to DestinySMASH Phase II, and to talk the future of Smash, mainly Phase III. All right, Destiny friends, welcome back. Happy Friday. Hope your week's been going well. Very, very excited to be here today to talk the future life of DestinySMASH. So Dean, how's it going, my friend?
It's going very well.
Great. So why don't you tell everybody a bit about yourself? So I should note you are a longtime contributor to the channel. This is your first time with your shining mug, or smiling mug on the screen.
It's usually my hands. Unboxing or whatever. I try to give you some supplemental things so you can go take a break every so often, or unboxings, a little casual content. So yeah, first time face on screen. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the fans like it.
Well, I do hear there are places on the dark web you can go for hand videos, so you've got that going for you at least. So
I imagine that would be a thing.
So, all right. So aside from being just an all-around good guy, supporter of the channel, Dean is here specifically because he is taking over lead design for Phase III of DestinySMASH, which we just got done discussing is due mid-July is our current target. So why don't you tell the folks real quick why you are passionate about that, why that was something you wanted to take on, and kind of what your overall goals in that are.
Sure. So I've really liked Smash once it came out. It feels like classic Destiny with your friend, where you both come up with some like nonsense jank and you throw it at each other and you both have a good time. And I feel like pretty much every time you bust out the Smash decks, that's how it feels. You get that classic thing that there's a couple things that work, a couple things are clunky, and you're having fun with the characters, and it's not like hardcore extreme competition. Mm-hmm. So I really dug with the vibe of DestinySMASH. And then when you were looking to hand off for Phase 3, that was something I was excited about the challenge. I liked the idea of building these different decks and not necessarily building them for competition, building them for theme, building them to be unique, and keep them that power balance correct, where you have kind of a set, low bar, high bar, and they have to land in that middle, and getting that feeling right was an interesting challenge.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a good lead-in, actually, the power balance, to talking about the finals of Phase 2. So we are locking in the final designs for Phase 2 so that we can basically go to Aegis Print. He can make those super sexy boxes, and we can get those alt art, full art cards out as well. I do have to say, because Dean's been with us on Smash since the beginning, I think we did a much better job in Phase 2 overall than we did in Phase 1, which means that we can learn. So high five to us. But we do have 3 changes. 2 of them are power balance changes. One is a positive, one is a negative, and then the other one is just kind of a quality of life change. So the first change we have is that Director Krennic, we're swapping out his 2-cost removal, his quote-unquote blowout removal that I think we can all agree was functionally not a blowout removal. It's kind of a dead card. So we're swapping out Snuff Out for Battle Fatigue. So kind of what was the group logic on that one, Dean?
So he just wasn't pulling off that move consistently enough, and his other mitigation wasn't strong enough. He removes from the hand pretty good. He can disrupt you in a couple different ways. He ramps very strong, but his mitigation was a little weak, and that one card being so situational just didn't pay off enough. So it gave him something that's a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, and I think that was some of the feedback I know for the Echo Base tournament. They ran, I think, like the week after Phase 2 dropped, they had a big Smash tournament, and that was some of the feedback they'd gotten as well, was that Krennic was just a little weak in the removal department, which, I mean, I think makes sense. His job is to live and build the Death Star, so if he doesn't live, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So the next change we have is for Hera Ghost. This is one of the decks I was most worried about going in with the plot. I think the deck has actually performed pretty well in terms of not being too powerful, but I think people have to learn how to play against it for sure. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we found is that, I mean, one of the basic strategies is you have to go for Hera early, because once she gets the Ghost out and she starts taking shields, that's a cumulative effect over the game. And one of the drawbacks that we have in there to accomplishing that task is first aid, right? If you put 4 damage into her first turn, she just heals it back for 1. That's oftentimes can be game. So I think that one was a kind of an obvious move for us to do. In terms of replacement, we ended up going with kind of a filler card to a certain degree, Guerrilla Tactics. So that'll let you remove a red die and turn it into damage, which does work with what she has, but it's certainly not on the same power level as first aid. So I think that one should help mitigate that one. The third change we have is in the dual Faust deck. Now, this is a very interesting deck, and I know you've played against this one several times, Dean. So when you're playing against that, I mean, tell us, what's the general strategy when playing against Faust?
You have to kill a Faust.
You have to kill a Faust.
Right off the bat. You have to kill one. If they get their redeploy tricks going, it's pretty annoying. So, your first job against a team that has a Faust is you got to drop a Faust. And ideally, it's not going to cause any redeploy nonsense for you if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, you 100% nailed it. That's the basic strategy. You have to kill a Faust. And we had Riot Shield in that list previously, which put up a 3-point health barrier to doing that. And so there was that. But this, not so much from a power standpoint, but more from a quality of life standpoint. Last price I saw on Riot Shield is $15, something like that, in some $12, $15 range. That's pretty pricey, and it's in a lot of the Smash decks because it's Riot Shield. So we decided that Faust, given the objective of killing the Faust, adding 3 health, that it would be advisable to remove that, save everybody a little bit of money as well. So we are dropping that, and we are adding in one of my favorite cards actually from Legacy, which is Shrapnel Blast, which is a villain card where you deal them an indirect, and then wherever they put it, you get to remove that character's die. So that should fit that theme a little bit and be interesting, because that list does not really generate in of itself a whole bunch of indirect damage, although the F11D kind of does. But
it's a couple mixed in, but yeah.
Yeah. So those are the only changes for Phase 2, and we're locking them in. So I think pretty much overall that's pretty minor changes. There's no dice card changes, anything like that. So hopefully people will be happy with that. So locking that in and moving into our Phase 3 discussion, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you on what your thoughts are, what kind of characters you're looking at. Maybe you've got some spicy spoilers on who we're going to see, and where we're going from here.
All right. So when you pitched Phase 3, it was kind of that this is going to wrap up the FFG era of Destiny. So everything from Awakenings to Covert Missions is what we're looking at, and there are 34 decks currently in Smash. Each expansion's been roughly 16. I wanted to look at adding 16 more to bring us to a total of 50. My main kind of goals for Phase 3 is that we can't have any power creep. They have to be able to fit in with the existing stuff. I wanted to balance the numbers. So, like, for example, there are 2 yellow heroes, and there are 8 yellow villains. There are 3 blue villains, and there are 7 blue heroes. So, like, there's a couple things like that with disparity. So you're just more likely to draw a yellow villain in Smash. I want to see if I can even out some of those numbers. And I want to make sure that any new additions carve out a new space, or they feel like there's something new to Smash that wasn't there before. So if there's a character that's smashable, but they're very similar to another character, then they're less likely to make it. So I'll give an example. Forlom is very smashable. However, there's a lot of yellow bounty hunters. We have Jango, Boba, Dengar. Then you have Jabba. And so Val feels like that sometimes. So, like, yellow villain is just kind of covered. And I didn't think Forlom was going to bring a lot of interesting things to Smash. It's a lot of the like unique, even like droid things are red. So Forlom doesn't seem like an exciting addition to me. So that to give you an idea of what I want to add, of things that don't currently exist in Smash, just to some degree. And I do want to be mindful of IRL builders, so I'm challenging everyone, at least to start, to try to use dice and cards that are not heavily featured in Smash, if it's at all possible. So, like, we're trying to avoid Neemans because those are real expensive. I always mention Riot Shields, so, like, be careful adding that in. But try to mix up, because there's a lot of interesting dice in the history of Destiny that aren't in Smash yet. Let's see if we can sneak them in. And if there's any kind of play type out there that's existed in the history of Destiny that we haven't captured that is, smashable, we want to make sure we can squeeze it in there this time.
Yeah, sure. So, and then, I mean, obviously there were, and because I think we've talked about it before on the channel in various casts, there were characters that we had cut. Some of those I think you guys are given a run at again. Mm-hmm. Like Vader, I think you guys are given a run at. I don't know if we know if he's gonna pilot Vader. I'm talking. I don't know if he's gonna end up in or not. So I know that you're giving him a run, which is cool. But again, to be clear to everybody, that doesn't mean he's going to be in it. We found him to be pretty damn good. So we'll see what these guys can do.
I'll give it. So we'll delve a little bit into the experimenting there. So with Pilot Vader and his no base sides of melee damage, like, you can't really build a lightsaber build for him. And he's very strong, and because his damage are specials, there's a bunch of mitigation that doesn't touch him. So he is, with all the health, and he gets action cheating with the piloting, bringing in vehicles. He's very strong. So bringing him in and not having him be too strong has been interesting challenge. So we're trying two different builds. One that's built around force powers, and one that's built around his pilot mechanic. And we're going to try them both out and see if they can work, if they can bring something new. Vader is obviously an iconic Star Wars character. It would be a shame to wrap up the FFG era without him. But he is an interesting challenge to bring in line with everybody else, with all he brings to the table.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I know we struggled, and I remember when we were doing Phase 2, it was no eject. We cannot eject Merchant with Vader. We can't do it, right? Yeah, so.
No. And, like, blue vehicles, because, like, normally with Pilot Vader, if you played him IRL, a lot of times you married him with another character and you brought those vehicles. Like, the blue vehicles aren't great, historically, especially on the villain side. So, his vehicle is expensive, so you might not even get it early. So Vader's been interesting. I'm definitely going to give him a hard push to try to get him in there, but he's a fun challenge.
Yep, you got to protect the format, right? You're the champion of the format now, so.
Yeah. Yep, we don't want anyone coming in too strong. Yeah.
I feel your pain. All right, well, do you have any hints for people who are excited on who they might see? Any fan favorite requests?
So, addressing a current disparity where we talked about Yellow Hero being a little light with Cassian and Chewbacca, the fan favorite Tora Doza will be added. This will be our first yellow pilot, and there's a lot of stuff from, like, the Resistance show that's not currently in Smash, so getting that stuff in there, Tora is definitely going to make the cut.
Awesome. Obviously you're doing a piloting type build, I would assume there.
Yeah, so you'll have the Blue Ace. She's going to have Bucket, and kind of a mix of things that work around her mechanic. We don't want to make it so she's also interesting in that she gets that action cheat where you can possibly avoid mitigation. You just bring in the vehicle and you can auto resolve it. So we want to be careful what vehicles we give her, so that you don't have any like consistent blowout plays. Like there are blowout maneuvers in Smash. Different decks have different things they can do that are potent or to finish a match, but we don't want someone who can just like automatic do significant damage where they tilt every match that they're in. So that's the balancing mechanic with Tora, is giving her access to vehicles that won't blow things up. But we also, because like with Hera, she can automatically bring in a vehicle. With Tora, you have to make it so that she works if you don't draw her vehicle. Because there's only 15 cards, she's going to have a couple, and then if her partner doesn't have any vehicles, then you want to make sure that she's not broken if she doesn't draw a vehicle early. So kind of getting that balance together.
Sure. Yeah, that completely makes sense. All right. Any other spoiler hints you want to give the people before we wrap up and get out of here?
On the villain side, the ever so shiny Captain Phasma from the 2-player starter kit will be coming in, which should be easy dice for people to bring. And then to give you a picture, like I said as an example with her when we went into the Phase 3, is that like Captain Phasma cannot look like Iden's build, but with Captain Phasma's blaster. They can't match. And so the most recent one we're looking at has only 2 cards that overlap with Iden. So
nice.
She's going to play differently than another red villain leader.
Yeah.
Even though they look like they'd be similar, we're working to make sure that she comes in and will play and feel differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think Iden's probably the biggest mistake we made. I think giving her megas was a big mistake that we made. I mean, maybe not a big mistake, but I think that was our weakest decision, was megas. So I'm glad to hear that you're not shooting for another like leader type build with Phasma. That's really good. And yeah, you gotta have a blaster. Gotta have a blaster.
Yeah, you gotta have a blaster. So she's gotta have some very unique stuff. But like, we didn't want the mitigation package to be exactly the same. We didn't want, the same leader stuff. Mm-hmm. So her build is going to look different than Pyre. It's going to look different than Iden. It's going to look different than FN. So the red villains that are out there, this is going to be a different deck. So you'll be happy to hopefully draw it versus them, or to, just have a different experience with it.
Mm-hmm. And just a side note, by the way, for those still watching, I was contacted actually earlier this week by someone asking, because we play the printed point values in Smash, for example, right, on the cards. Yes. And his question was, well, do the eroded subtypes, do you play those? And the answer is yes, right? So Phasma, that's why it's coming up here, is Phasma is a leader trooper, even though it's not printed on her card. So then the reason for that is it just opens up design space, right? I mean,
yeah, it makes Bosk playable.
Right.
Adding Bounty Hunter to him. There's a couple people where you kind of have to add their subtype just for those extra cards that cash in on that. And you also want them to work with other cards that exist in Smash that reference subtypes. Right. So you don't want all those cards to be dead because you're using Awakening's character. Like, we want to reward people for busting out their Awakening's characters and getting use out of them again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up for the evening. So last kind of surprise question I'll have for you, what is your, long-term dream goal of, when we ship Phase 3 in mid-July-ish, at least that's the goal. What's your hope and dream?
I'm hoping that people will think that Phase 3 did kind of bring to culmination like a fullness of Smash, kind of filled in a couple gaps that have kind of shown up, represented a couple new types, and that we took a couple swings. We didn't just take the last couple smashable people. I think Phase 2 with Faust, with adding the plot with Hera, bringing in Crime Lord Jabba, like those were interesting swings. They were not obvious, and I want to have another 2 or 3 interesting swings in DestinySMASH in this phase. So hoping people will enjoy the choices there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, just remind everybody out there that one of the greatest things about Smash is, like, no one's forcing you to put all 50 Smash cards in your draw deck. If you don't like one, you don't have to put it in, right? So
yeah, you can completely scrap it. And There's other things like I think that there's still going to be space for people to make their own Smash cards. When we were scheming the ideas for Phase 3, like there's other rule bending things. I talked about making some previous non-unique characters, like making them elite, kind of like the Trandoshan Kashyyyk warriors. And like, so if you took one of those characters and made them elite and built a deck around it, you could probably do that at home. And I think there's going to be ways that if people wanted to continue Smash in their own way, they could do that. Or like we've been hard on the printed values. Some people could go and make their own Awakenings Finn deck.
You mean like fans, right? In the future,
fans, yeah. So there's still we're not taking everything, but there's going to be some things that fans could continue to play around with. But the 50 ideally, if we can deliver that, people are going to feel like this is a great encapsulation of what Destiny was during the FFG era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and 10 rows of 5 rows of 10 for your storage options. So
yeah, 50 just sounds so complete and wonderful. So I definitely want to aim for it. Although I will say that if the characters don't feel great, if they don't feel like they're in line with everything else, and we can only add 12 good characters, then that's what we're going to do. I'm not that heavy set on 50, but 50 sounds and feels right.
Mm-hmm. I will say 48 actually sounds better from a storage perspective. I will say that, but I think the more the better.
Case to be made. Yeah.
I think the more the better. So, well, cool. Well, I want to personally thank you for jumping on the grenade and taking this one on. I'm still going to be running the graphics side of it and the support side of it, but he's really he's jumping on the design side and he's running with it. So, thank you there, and people feel free to reach out and give him your feedback. So.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not hiding. You can send your ideas if you've got crazy takes on something. I'm open to testing lots of stuff. It's going to have to get fine tuned, but I'm pretty open.
Good. Well, yeah. So very much still in the Phase 1 design of Phase 3, but it is definitely on track, and we are working on it. So that's very exciting. So. All right, with all that said, I think it wraps it up. I just wanted to, again, thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Dean, for taking time out of your evening to wait till my kid went to bed, and that's why it's so late for you. I appreciate it. But I think that's it. So any parting words?
Go Commando.
Go Commando.